like to say good morning to everybody. I informed Greg a couple months ago that I was going to come down and come to this event, and he immediately asked me if I'd do him a favor. And when somebody who has the name of the Beast asks you to do you a favor, there's not a lot of time to think about that. The answer was yes immediately. But I'm glad to do it. I first ran into the Face-Off Academy last season, and right in the middle of the season, the day of a game. I found out that they were doing a clinic, and we coaches, we got a bunch of coaches here. These guys are all the same. That's one of the reasons they're here too. We're always trying to get better as coaches. The game of lacrosse evolves. Face-offs are different now than they were 3 years ago. So we have to keep pertinent, we have to keep up to date, we've got to follow these people who instruct, and we have to keep connected. I don't face off anymore. That was a long time ago. So I haven't been down in the stance in a long, long time. So I've got to kind of pick the brain of people who know what they're doing. And that's really one of the reasons why I'm here today. I'm going to open up a question and answer with the parents and let you ask questions about recruiting as best I can. But first I'll tell you who I am so you understand my answers. I'm an old assistant coach. Not many assistant coaches are my age. Most of them have gone on and become head coaches or sometimes leave the game for whatever reason. I've been doing this for about 29 years at the same school. I'm also a retired school teacher. I taught school for 34 years. I retired last year. I taught 8th grade science to kids your age, chemistry and physics. I was going to ask some chemistry and physics questions today, but I won't. It's Sunday. I won't do it to you. There's a lot of physics in what you do, though, isn't there? If you think about it. We got any teachers here? Parents, teachers? Okay, so you know that one of the things because I was teaching all the time, I didn't really recruit much. I was teaching all the time, except for the two best parts of teaching are what? Summer's off. It's usually the joke is July and August. But the problem is, as a lacrosse coaches do not get July off. July is a brutal month for lacrosse coaches. It's a big recruiting time. It's a big evaluating time. I haven't recruited much, but I've evaluated a lot. I've been evaluating all my career. That's really a big piece of the puzzle for you, too, that you understand how that evaluation process goes. I've also been where your parents are. I've got 3 children. They've all kind of moved on where you guys are now. My oldest one just graduated. He actually got a job in the degree that he went to school for. This kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because that's the whole point of what we're doing. I've got a son who's in the middle of it. I've got a son who's right where you are, right where you want to be. He's in college. He's playing lacrosse. He's in the engineering school. He's a very, very busy boy. The rigors of being a college student athlete are very hard. And I see him at practice, which is kind of cool. I see him when he wants money, and I see him when he's giving me laundry to bring home to his mother. And that's about the only time I see him. And I've got a daughter who's just a freshman. So, and these coaches will tell you the same thing. We hold our breath when we get those first grades back at the first semester of that first freshman year, because it's a big adjustment when kids get to college and they have to learn how to manage time and all that kind of stuff. So my daughter's grades will be coming in pretty soon, and I'm holding my breath to see how that works out. As far as the recruiting, the first advice I would give you is this. Your parents are right. Your parents are right most of the time. I'll say 99.1. We'll give them 1% error. They're human beings. They may not seem right to you all the time, but they are. They have your best interests at heart. I haven't seen too many parents who don't like their kids. They may not like some of the things you do. My second child does a lot of things I don't like, but that doesn't mean I don't love them. And your parents have your best interests at heart. When they tell you that your grades count and you've got to do your homework, they mean it, and they know that that's the truth. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why it's important. Most of you are trying to go to college to play lacrosse. It's a college. It's not a farm club. It's a college. It's for student athletes. And the kids who forget the student part of it either A, don't get there, or B, when they do get there, they're there for a semester and they're done. So that's the first thing. If you love what you're doing now, you also have to be a student. The second thing is something you probably haven't thought of, and I'll put it in a way that you guys will understand, because I know who you guys are. You guys are competitors. That's what you guys are going to compete like crazy in a couple minutes. You guys compete, your teams compete. Colleges compete. My bosses, I'm not the boss of Syracuse University. There's people who are way higher up than I am, including admissions office, the dean and all that. Those guys are competing. They don't compete athletically. You could beat them facing off. I promise you that. But they're competing to get the best students and the best people they can at their schools. They rank your grades, and they judge each other on that. So they rank each other, and they compete against each other. So I can't just go fill my team with marginal students and marginal people. So we can't do that. So your grades count, your character counts. Your character absolutely counts. And almost always before a decision's made on whether you're coming to a school, we will have a face-to-face eventually. We'll talk. We'll talk to the parents. And we can judge character pretty good. We'll look at your resumes, and what you do is important. Okay? As far as, I'm going to open it up in a second, but as far as the recruiting, things have really changed over the past couple of years. It's really crazy what's going on. The scope of it's changed, and the pace of it has changed. It used to be in the early years when I was recruiting, coaches would go to 3 places. They go down to Baltimore, they go to Long Island, they go to upstate New York, and some of them would trickle up into Canada once in a while. That was it. We didn't have kids on our team from Oregon and Texas. I've got a starting midi from Oregon. I've got a starting defenseman from Texas. We're bringing kids in from Atlanta. My second midi is from Ohio. That never would have happened 7, 8 years ago. It's just brand new. Because of that and because of the time constraints, we can't go to all those places. It's impossible. So what has to happen is the parents, you guys have to bring them to us. It's just really how it works. There are certain places where coaches concentrate. It happens in July at the camps. It happens in November a lot at some of these camps. I was down in Philly, I think 4 weekends in a row. My wife thinks I have a girlfriend down there or something. I'm down there so much. So you've got to take these kids to the places, within your financial budget. You've got to take them to the places where they're going to be seen. We've got to get our eyes on them. We just can't go everywhere. The other way you could do it is with prospect camps. I think the prospect camps are blowing up. I see a real merit in them. I feel bad that it makes parents have to spend even more money to keep going to these things. But the prospect camps are great because I get to work in a smaller group, and I get to get a little better evaluation of who you are and how well we can coach you. Coach Greg Grenlin was talking about that the other day. That's of huge importance, is are you coachable? And that's one of the things you can see at a prospect camp. Plus, you get to go see the coaches. You get a real good feel at the prospect camps of whether you like these people. I mean, you're going to be spending 4 years with them. You better like them, or at least admire them or have some respect for them. The parents have to be really proactive. You've got it happens so fast now that you have to get going early. And some of these kids, no offense, kids, some of you guys are better off watching SpongeBob right now than you are thinking about college. You're just young kids. And the parents, you got to help these kids, I think, along gently and try to bring them to the places within your financial means, as many places as you can to open up the doors for them. You want to try to pick a place also that isn't just about lacrosse. You've got to like the school. It's got to fit financially, socially, athletically, and all that. So you've got to think of that also. And the biggest thing, of course, of all is what this is really all about. This is not all about lacrosse. This is a ticket for you guys to try to get to a college so you can get a degree and spend the rest of your life having a degree. College is going to end. You're going to play lacrosse in college for 4 years. If you're 12 years old, that seems like a long time. It's not. It goes fast. And all of a sudden it's over, and now you've got the rest of your life to live. So really, that's what you're trying to set up when you're doing this stuff. I think that's it. I'll open it up to questions. Any questions for you guys? Like I said, I've got a couple kids in school, gone through school. I know a little bit about that. I'm not real good with the finances because I'm not really the recruiting coach. I'm more of an instructor at Syracuse. But anybody have any questions?
If there are 2 players and one of them happens to, they're both good, but one of them might not be as talented but has a higher academic background, are they just as likely to be recruited?
It really depends on a couple. Yes, the answer is yes, they are. It depends on if I feel as I can make that kid better, if I can coach him. If I feel as though the kid's got a lot of character, I think he's really eager to learn, and I think I can turn him into a player that can help us, then the answer is yes. Yep. It's not all about talent. I've seen very, very talented kids. I've watched incredibly talented kids, and I've watched, and there's something about it, either the character or the way he behaves on the field, where I just say, let that one go. I don't want to deal with that one. I've seen it over and over, actually. We have to, look at, I'm a little bit different. I'm retired. I've got a pension. It's not my livelihood. Some of these coaches, this is their livelihood. They have to trust you on a Friday night. They go home, they're doing whatever, they're having a barbecue with their family. You know, what are you doing Friday night? They've got to trust you. So we've got to be careful on who we bring in and put on our teams. These teams are small. There's not a lot of, you know, think of it as a giant Hershey Kiss. Not the chocolate part, the shape of it. All right, you guys, there's a huge base, and that's where you guys are. You're all trying to get to that little point at the top. So you've got to get first of all, you've got to be good. You've got to be good. And that's, you know, coming here today is going to make you better. You guys all know that. I think you can feel it. And most of you guys are getting so good that you're going to get better in little increments at this time, but you're going to get better. But it's like a big Hershey Kiss. You've got to try to get to the top. You've got to be good. You've got to be good. You've got to have good character. You've got to have good grades. And then you've got to be seen. You've got to get somewhere where you're going to be seen. Any parents have any questions? Wow, I covered it all.
All those videos that people make and send to coaches, do you guys really, really watch them? I mean, some of you guys must get thousands of videos.
Yep. I do watch some of them. I think everybody would answer that a little differently. Here's my advice on that. Yes, I think they are important. It's one of the ways you can, you know, it's a big Hershey Kiss. It's one of the ways we can see you. If you're going to make a video and an email, I wouldn't make it real long. If it's real long, I will not read it. It's got to be short. It's got to be detailed with grades and accomplishments. It's got to make me think that this kid might be pretty good. And then the video shouldn't be real long, and it should have your best stuff right in the front of it. Because a lot of times I'm not going to watch all of the video. And if you're trying to make like some great production and all of a sudden at the very end show the best stuff, I may not get that far. Put your best stuff right in the beginning. Show me who you are. You'll be surprised. You'd be surprised at what you think. And I'm talking to the kids, I think, more than anything. You'd be surprised at what you think is important and looks good and what I think looks good. When I'm watching a video of a goalie, I'm the goalie coach there, I'm looking at how he's been trained. I look at how he steps. I look at how his hands. I look to see if he dips. Where you guys might be looking at a spectacular save where he kicks his leg out, and I'm saying that's not good form. He needs a lot of training. So you'll be surprised at what we look at and what you might be putting on the film. Another thing I would suggest is get evaluated. A lot of you kids play on these club teams, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. I like the high schools. I feel bad that the high school teams don't mean as much as they used to. The club teams serve a big purpose. One of them, besides getting you guys to those places, is you should ask those people, how's my kid doing? How does he compare? Does he have a chance? Is he Division III? Is he Division I? Can he get to that point? And try to get as much feedback as you can so you're not wasting your time going someplace that's unrealistic for you. That would be my suggestion. But those emails and those videos, just keep them short. Don't make them real long.
What's short out of curiosity? Minute video?
No, I might watch 5 minutes of a kid. The music's great, but I usually turn it down and turn it off. I don't understand that music anyways. I usually put my own music on. But yeah, they're okay.
What is the benefit of a coach or a poor coach to be allowing a verbal commitment for a kid as young as a freshman when so much can happen in 4 years?
I have no answer for it. I think coaches are really struggling with this. I don't know. I can only speak for ourselves. If we give a kid a verbal, if he verbally commits to us, we're gonna honor it all the way through. Mistakes are going to be made. Mistakes are going to be made, and you're not thinking the way I'm thinking right now. The mistakes that I'm saying are going to be made is we're going to miss a lot of kids. My son was 132 pounds as a senior, and now he's a Division I attackman. So there's a whole bunch of kids that are going to get missed. But if we've made a commitment, I think the coaches will agree. You got to honor that commitment. You've picked a kid, in your judgment, you've decided to go with them, so you have to go with them. But it's tough. If the kids are really young, it's hard to see. Yep.
What advice would you have for the boys if they were going to go on a campus visit and talk to a coach? What advice would you have for them to prepare for that discussion with the coach? What should they expect? What should they be ready to talk to them about?
Well, they should ask them. The biggest thing right away is to see the place. I think a lot of kids will get a feel for whether they like it just by a visual look at the place. Then they want to talk to them a little bit about the academics. If there's an academic advisor, I think it's always a great place to bring them down and let them talk to the advisor for a little bit. And that does a couple things. It gets them away from lacrosse. Oh yeah, school. And it gets them to realize that that's their, I would ask them about the team. If you can go into details and get real specific, what players do you have at what ages? Where would I fit in? Who else you bringing in? If that's, that's the lacrosse part of it. Who will coach me? Can I meet him? Who's my position coach? Can I meet him? I think that's important because my son went to Rutgers, and that's one of the things that he went there for 2 years, and that's one of the things I was very curious about, is who's he going to work with, and I was very happy with who he's with, so I said, God bless him, let's go. I like the setup here. So you got to think that the person's going to be good for your kid. Anybody else? Good luck with it. Don't let it get crazy. Try to find a place that your kid's going to enjoy. Do as much as you can to get them there, and good luck. Thank you.